Hi, I'm Doug from Dynamic Computing, and welcome to episode 96 of 10-Minute Amiga Retrocast. Now, originally, this was going to be part one of my review of the Vampire V2 for my lovely Amiga 1200. As I mentioned a few weeks ago, the entire month was supposed to be about my Amiga 1200. Not going to happen. Because something just a bit surprising happened just yesterday on the 14th that we need to talk about. And that is our friends at Hyperion Entertainment announced that Amiga OS 3.2 is ready for release and will soon be in our hot little hands. So today, I want to talk about whether or not Amiga OS 3.2 is right for you. Most of us are familiar with the current lawsuit going on between Hyperion and Mike from Cloanto, who actually owns most of the Amiga rights. I don't want to rehash on that. I don't want to open old wounds because I like and respect both the team that makes Amiga OS 3.2 and I like and respect Mike tremendously. So let's just put that aside for now and just talk about the operating system. Of course, Amiga OS 3.1.4 came out in about 2018, and it was really the first new version of the operating system in about 20 years, since Amiga OS 3.5 and 3.9 came out back in the early 2000s. It made Amiga OS much more stable, much more useful, as it could innately address larger drive sizes, which has always been a problem for us, and it also made it more beautiful. Take a look at my playlist that I'll link to right there with all of my Amiga OS 3.1.4 reviews and tutorials. Now, I've been a huge fan of 3.1.4 since the day it came out. I've got it on virtually all of my Amigas, and to this day, whenever I use an Amiga with 3.1 on it, it honestly feels dated to me, which is kind of funny considering what I do here. But part of the reason is, even from 2000 and beyond, I was using Amiga OS 3.5 and 3.9 whenever I used my Amigas. So I was just used to something a little bit more modern looking. So what's new in Amiga OS 3.12 that should make you run out to the store, well, virtually run out to the store and buy it for yourself? Let's talk about that. In the beginning, Amiga OS 3.2 will only be available on CD, to be followed up fairly quickly by a digital version. Now, you may think that bundling it on CD is kind of odd, considering I would guess maybe 15% of us Amiga users actually use a CD on our Amigas. Most of us bypassed that years ago and were using SD cards, CF cards, USB flash drives, Gotex, whatever, as our medium of choice. All is not lost, as you can easily just pop this CD into your PC or your Mac, copy the files over to the media of choice, no problem at all. So what's on this CD, you may be asking? Well, the entire CD is actually a fully functional Windows 3.1 installation using what they're calling Amiga pre-installation environment. And this means you can literally take the contents of the CD, copy it to the media of your choice, and boom, it's bootable just like that, which is actually kind of cool. The CD also contains ADF files of all of the installation floppies. So just copy them right over to your Gotek, all of the floppies right over to your Gotek, or hook this up to your working Amiga and use a utility like a ADF mounter or TSG UI, I think that's what it's called, and just take the ADFs and make real floppies out of them. That's what I'm gonna do. I think most of our vendors will also sell a version of the CD with an option to have floppies included. Now, the CD also contains all of the ROMs from the Amiga 500 and 2000, 600, 3000, 4000, 1200. All of the ROMs are right on the CD, which gets a big old thumbs up from me. Now, many of us don't need the physical ROMs anymore. For example, I've got a couple of Vampires that I can just take the ROM image, burn it right to the Vampire's flash memory, or use it with my ACA 500 Plus, my Classic 520. Just take the ROMs, put them right on there, boom, it ignores whatever ROMs are on the motherboard. Perfect. For those of us that need a physical ROM, most of the vendors are going to give us an option to buy the ROMs right away as you buy the CD, which is kind of cool. This is also a great option for those of us who want to use it with our virtual Amigas. Amiga Forever, WinUAE, FSUAE on our Pis, AmiBerry, whatever. It's going to give us the option to take these ROMs, put them right on our virtual Amigas, and just emulate whichever one we want to without having to buy a new ROM for each individual computer. So, worth the investment. Of course, the new OS will have all the features that we've grown to love with Amiga OS 3.1.4, like large drive support, like the ability to move Intuition windows off the screen. See how I'm doing that with my hand there? That's a window. All of these are going to be included right with 3.2, which is kind of cool. But now it will also include many of the utilities and options that were previously optional by downloading something like Gulliver's fantastic Best Workbench collection, which I've gone over in that video right there. All of those now part of the operating system. Here's a couple of highlights right here, and I'll post them right there too. So, ADF support is now built in. We'll be able to mount, run, and control ADF disks as if they were part of the operating system. So you've got an ADF file on your hard drive. Now you can just double click it, boom, mounted, it thinks it's a floppy. That's kind of cool, and we won't need a third-party program to do this. It's now part of the OS. But remember, you can't boot from an ADF file from Workbench. You have to have that ADF file on a GoTex still. Now the Find utility, which was accessible in Amiga OS 3.1.4, if you added on an extra program, is now part of the operating system. You can go to the menus, you can do find and look for anything on your hard drive. And I'll tell you what, it works better than the Find utility in Windows 10. Now many CLI commands have been updated and fixed, and many new ones have been added, including a cool one called Reboot, which will reboot your Amiga, but only after the Amiga knows that it's saved everything to hard drive. So it'll be safer than an Amiga control. There have been some major enhancements to Multiview, which is a great utility, especially if you've got a retargetable graphics system, that will make it much more useful, like the ability to identify the size and depth of an image that you're viewing and display it right on the screen. That right there is pretty cool. And also lots and lots and lots of new data types. When we do the review, we're going to be digging pretty heavily into Multiview. There's also enhanced shell and CLI, or CLI, if you're like Eric from Amiga Love and calls it the CLI. Just kidding, Eric. It has some enhancements, including an interesting ability to now drag and drop icons right into the shell, which I think might be kind of fun. That might have some interesting effects. Generic CPU drivers are also included. If you recall, if you've got a 6830 and 040 or 060 card with Amiga OS 3.1.4, it would nag you and tell you, oh, you have to have 060 library or 040 library, and you'd have to dig them out, try and find them, download them. Now, generic drivers are included. You can still use your own if you want to, but if you don't, use the generic ones. Now there's a lot more features built into it, and we will be going in depth into these in the review. This again is just a little preview. Now one of the features I'm most excited about are new options available in the early boot menu. You know, you hold down the two-finger salute when you boot, and it comes up with a couple options, changing between NTSC and PAL, boot with no startup sequence. They've made some additions and actually really cool features with that. One of them is the ability to step through startup sequence line by line. So if you've installed some new stuff and now your Amiga is guruing left and right, you can step through startup sequence one step at a time until you see exactly what's bombing out. I think that's going to be useful. You can also choose to boot without the ROM module enhancements for a more generic boot. And there's a new safe mode boot option that will bring up a GUI where we can fix things and correct things without loading all of the stuff from startup sequence, similar to a safe mode with Windows, which is really going to be a useful addition. You can think of it like boot with no startup sequence that we can use after do the two-finger salute, but with a nice GUI and easier to use. And there's also keyboard shortcuts for a lot of the requesters now. So if you boot up and for some reason maybe you've got a USB mouse that doesn't work with early startup and a requester comes up, there's new key commands for responding to almost all of the actions. Workbench itself gets a nice little touch-up. You can see the screen right here, although it's just a screenshot that I have as the background of my 314 installation, so it's cheating. But there's a new look for Workbench. Here's a bigger picture that has nice effects, nice shaded effects, new shadowing effects in the boxes that just make it look more attractive and more professional. There's also new icon snapshotting options that are available for better ways of sorting things when we want to adjust how our icons look and better ways to snapshot them. Now, Amiga OS 3.0 and 3.1 laid the groundwork for a good help system. It really started using Amiga Guide, which is an absolutely fantastic technology for help files, but it never went all the way. The new version, 3.2, is going to implement a help system that you can access, get this, with a help key that's been on our keyboard since 1985, but barely ever used for anything, that will bring up an Amiga Guide document that can help you with your computer. Imagine that. It's like we've advanced all the way to 1993, but that's a really cool feature. Now, one last thing I'm excited about is Hyperion has bought the rights for the Reaction interface. Now, Reaction was something that came with Amiga OS 3.5 and 3.9. You can kind of think of it like MUI. We all use MUI, or Magic User Interface. Now, we've all used MUI, or Magic User Interface. It's been around forever, but we have not been able to register it for like 15 years because the guy who owns the rights to it doesn't do it anymore. But you can think of Reaction similar to GUI, where it's a way that it controls and adds features to things like our gadgets, our icons, our hitboxes, and things like that, and really enhances them. Now, my Amiga 4000 back here is using Reaction because when I upgraded to Amiga OS 3.14, I used the special script that would continue to use the Reaction interface for my 3.9 installation. So cool things like my dock down here, all of this is Reaction based. And these are things that you would not normally be able to do with regular Amiga OS, but Reaction gives you the capabilities. It's going to add a lot of great features, and hopefully a lot of our software writers will switch over to using Reaction instead of just using MUI. So I really just wanted to touch on the features of this very, very important announcement. Let you know what's coming, let you know where you can get it. I already have a copy of 3.2 ordered, and I'll have a full unboxing, review, and tutorial series coming within the next couple of weeks. So how much is the CD version? Well, for us Americans, probably around $60, $70, right in that range with the conversions. Over in Europe, I've seen it for about £45, and that's just for the CD version. Add a little bit more if you want to have custom ROMs burned with it. Add a little bit more if you want floppies. Add a little bit more if you want a custom CF card with everything right on it. And where can you get this new software? Well, it's kind of odd. You go on the Hyperion website as of yesterday, available now, order now. And that's great, except all the Amiga vendors are going, yeah, you haven't gotten them to us yet, so we can't sell them. So just kind of strange. In a perfect world, they would have waited until at least some of the vendors actually got their shipments before they announced it and said it's available today. You know, they should have come out and said it's available for pre-order, anything like that. But that's okay. We'll have it in a couple of days. Now, here in North America, Amiga on the Lake, our good friends, Aaron and Jeff, are listed as vendors of it. I haven't seen it up on their website yet, nor have I heard from them. In Canada, just across the border, our good friend Frank from RetroRewind.ca, there's his logo, there's his website. He's already planning on getting these in. He's been storing up his floppies. He's getting his ROMs ready to burn. So you're going to be able to get it from him in just a couple of days. Across the pond over in Europe, our good friends over at AmigaStore.eu already have their storefront up, so you can pre-order it and choose which options you want, and they're a great company to work with. I strongly recommend them. There's also links that you're going to find in both in my description and on the Hyperion website for companies like Simulant Systems, creators of the fantastic Amiga Addict magazine. They'll be resellers. Amidia Computers in France, Sordan in Ireland, and Visalia in Germany. All of them are going to be resellers, and several more of them that I'll have listed. So would I recommend buying Amiga OS 3.2? Heck yes, absolutely. Get it ordered. We're all going to be having a ball and laughing with this thing over the next couple of months. If you just recently upgraded to 3.14, use that for a while, but order 3.2. I think it's worth it. We'll see if there's some kind of upgrade path when they ship the digital version, hopefully in a few weeks. It's worth supporting our Amiga dealers, absolutely. So legally get this, order it from one of our fine vendors. You won't be sorry. And if you're still just stuck on Amiga 3.1, Amiga OS 3.1, just get it. Come on up to the 20th century with the rest of us here. 21st century. Huge thanks to my wonderful patrons who help support this channel. You see them right here. You guys are the best. If you want to be added to this illustrious list of brilliant people, pop on over to patreon.com/10mark. Take a look at what we have to offer. It's a lot of fun. Thanks for watching. I look forward to making a full review of this great software over the next couple of weeks, so stay tuned, as they say. Please like and subscribe. Tell me what you want in Amiga OS 3.2, maybe what direction you want to see things going, how you think they could have done it better with what formats they introduce it on. Follow me on Twitter at 10mark1. But until next time, this is Doug from 10-Minute Amiga Retrocast, signing out to go stand by my mailbox and wait for my shipment of Amiga OS 3.2.